Michel, thanks so much for joining us. Really excited to have you on. It's been a long time.
Been a long time, Gary. Thanks for having me. And again, for the audience, like my English is not perfect, but I'm going to do my best.
Love it. Love it. First question I have for you. So, you know, your reputation with the Belgian players of the De Bruynes of the world, the Courtois, the Carrascos. I mean, with that early work, what set those players apart at a young age? You know, before they made it, technical ability, mentality. What was it about that group that I suppose that you started with, and what propelled them to the top?
I always, if that question comes to me, for me, it's always an easy question because I always tell everybody they had the package, and the package is everything that you just asked for: the mentality, hard work. They really wanted it. They, if you ask them to do some technical stuff, they're gonna make sure the next training session that they have it, that they will try not to make too much mistakes. So they want to improve constantly. So I think this is the biggest difference between the players that made it. I mean, the guys that are playing top now, and the guys that are playing now football in a lower division that potential-wise maybe had more at that time than the other guys.
I'm fascinated by hunger and drive and where it comes from. I mean, is it in your experience? Is it from families? Is it from culture? Where does that drive come from?
So for me, to be honest, like here in Belgium, the moment, because everybody always talk about Brazil, Argentina, and whatever. Here in Belgium, it's just the same. The moment that the kid is born, a lot of them, they want to play soccer. They want to play football. That's very simple, you know. The street soccer, the street football is that you don't see. For example, in the United States, they still have it in Belgium. Not like it was before, but they still have it in Belgium. And those guys, they were kids that were playing on the streets the whole time, you know, the whole time. And then, of course, you come in an area like what we do in Genk and that's when they brought me in. They asked me, Michel, what do you want to do in the academy here? And basically, it was a simple question and a simple answer for me. So the things that they cannot do in the streets anymore because of parents, they don't want to put the kids on the street because they say it's dangerous. They will have maybe bad friends. They will have this. They will have this. They will come in contact to being a criminal. You know, so for me, to be very honest, it's I don't want to be rude, but for me it's bullshit. You know, now everybody talks back about playing soccer on the street. Everybody learning. So I try to put the street on the pitch, so that they do things that at a younger age normally you do on the streets. But now everything changed with cars having on the street, speeding, and all that stuff. And so that's the thing that I try to do in Genk. And of course, you see those kids that made it. So they have that basic, you know, they have that basic. They already have something that you can work with. It's not that they don't know how to play soccer or football, you know. So they learn it on the streets, playing with friends constantly. And then from there on, they come to the pitch and you see the difference of them. Is because they have the hunger and they have a basic from their own. So that's the thing that you got here in Belgium, you know. We have a lot of immigrants. And the thing here is that there only is one thing here. It's playing football. You know? And for me, it's very easy. Then you have a few areas that you can say, okay, the top guys that made it, like Kevin De Bruyne, Origi, Carrasco, Courtois, because I think we have Leandro Trossard now playing in the Premier League also. So those kids, they had the package, they had a little bit of street in it, but also the discipline to make it in the football. They know they need to work very hard. They know they don't have to come too late. So, and that's the package. You see now the national team of Belgium for the last, let's say for the last 8 to 10 years, and improved a lot because we have a lot of those kids that have the package. You know what I mean? They have the package. They want to be good. They want to win games. They want to work hard. They want to improve, but always with with being humble.
Mm.
If it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean that's that's the question I was going to ask you next. Was not it might come back to humility of the player, but the humility and the control of the coach to see a massive talent. Now, I'm assuming that when you put the streets onto the pitch, that as a coach you have to almost let situations develop and be a bit more withdrawn, put the player first, etc., etc.
Always.
Do you think we struggle then as a coach to be like massive talent, huge? Now I'm going to go in and work my magic and try to do too much?
No, that don't work like that.
Mm.
That don't work like that. So basically, if you see for a younger age, at a younger age, you need to just let them play. You know, let them play. And I always say, if a kid can play, can dribble 5 players, it's brilliant. That's brilliant. Let them dribble 5 players. But the moment that he will get older, you as a coach and as a club need to work with him and to explain him where to dribble, when to dribble, and when to pass the ball. You know, so and that it's a decision making. You know, the decision making that we always talking about. But even then, we can give them options and tell them, listen, maybe this is a good option, maybe this is a good option, but it's not possible for us to train decision making. It's good to you give them options, but at the end of the day, is if you as a coach, you're watching a game and you don't want a player to dribble 4 players, excuse me, and in the game he will dribble 4 players. He decides to dribble 4 players. You're too late anyway as a coach. You're too late anyway, so you cannot train decision making. Is all up to the player. You can give them options. What we as coaches think will be the best option to do in a game. Because for us, the option is play simple and give a good assist for him to score a goal, for your teammate to score a goal. If in the game, a player, for example, like Carrasco, if he decides, I don't give him that ball because I think I can take 3 players on and score a goal. And if he scores a goal, basically, as a coach, you need to enjoy that. But you can always tell him after the game, Yannick, do you saw him? Did you see him? Because you scored a fantastic goal. But did you see him? Because that's a very important part in the mindset of a player. Because some players don't see that. If they don't see the second option, then you have a problem. You know? But decision making, at the end of the day, Gary, the player will make the decision. You will always be too late as a coach if he makes the decision on the pitch. So the only thing you can train is giving them options.
Which would mean that you've got to be all right with failure then as a coach. You have to almost give that up to be over controlling and dictating what they have to do. How do you manage that or balance that?
Listen, for example, I can only talk about what we do here in Genk and what I did with the staff in Kansas City, you know. So at the end of the day, you're the boss. A coach is a boss. I mean, a boss in a good way. It have to be a friend, but the players need to respect you. Because at the end of the day, that's why the name coach is there. You know, we are a coach. That's why they give us the name coach. And the players need to listen to what a coach has to say. They don't always need to do what a coach has to say, because sometimes a kid will give us a new view of some situations. You know, they can do something in the game that you say, oh my God, that was brilliant. And we had something different. You always need to interact with a kid, you know, you always need to interact. But for a kid to tell us what to do, I mean, that's something different. You never need to lose the value of being a coach for a kid. That's at a professional level. Of course, if you're the coach of Messi, you know you got a player in your squad that's gonna make you win a game, and he's brilliant. He got something in his head that we as coaches don't got, you know. So that's something different. But at early ages, if you train kids at the age of 8, 9, 10, until they're professional, even then, as a coach, you need to stand above the player, but in a good way, not in an arrogant way. If it makes sense, you know.
Yeah, and is that something that I know you talk about a lot on social media, you're pretty vocal about the ego of the coach getting in the way. Is that what you mean by that there?
That's a part of it. Yes, that's a
Yeah.
part of it. And because if you see that, for example, and it's not only in the United States. I see it in Belgium. I played with Academy. I played Barcelona, because everybody talks about Barcelona, the Academy of Barcelona, Academy of Ajax, Academy. So we, as Genk, we are not less than them. We play them every year. For coaches that find winning important, yes, we beat them every year. But for us, it's not beating Barcelona, beating Ajax. It's we put our value as a coach away, because we want to see kids develop and make it to the first team. And I can tell you guys, okay, I did this. For me, that's not important. I'm still in touch with some world-class players, and for me, it feels good that they are there, because they deserve it. They made it. So we as coaches need to put that ego away, because the only thing we do, we are a tool. We are just a tool, not more than a tool, to try to help kids make it to be, one, a better person, and two, one day hopefully a top player, or just a good player at every level, at the best level that they can be. So the coach of the ego, the ego of the coach needs always to move for a kid, and don't come, oh, I won against him, I want this. I've been 5 times champion with the under 13. I mean, for me, that's a bunch of bullshit. You need to tell me as a coach, listen, I worked my butt off to make this kid improve 10%. And that 10%, it's a little detail that's going to help him one day to be hopefully a professional football player.
Brilliant. Interested to get your thoughts on in the United States. I mean, obviously, with your time in Kansas City, where do you think, we talk a lot as a soccer community of what we're lacking in the US, and I'm sure we'll get to that. Where do you think we're making progress in your time there? Not just at Kansas City, but in the collective culture.
So first of all, I want to say, because a lot of people even on Twitter, they say, he wasn't in the United States. He was saying the United States was brilliant. Now he's back in Belgium, and he's saying United States. No. I never say United States is not good. United States got an immense potential, Gary. Unbelievable potential. I'm here in Genk, and I'm trying to bring guys in from the United States. All ages, because there's an immense of potential players. Now, having top coaches, that's something total different. I've been to some academies to see how they work, and I see some players and some kids that they got, and I say, oh my God, they are brilliant. But then you see the coaches, and you see training sessions, and you see a bunch of stuff that you say, listen, with those kind of players, you are just working in a bad way. And then you can come out and say, okay, listen, we have this, we have perfect pitches, we have everything, because this in the United States is unbelievable. But the biggest problem, Gary, in the United States are the rules. Territories. Why territories? So if your kid tomorrow play in Miami, but you don't like the way Miami works, and your son don't feel good to play in that club, it's not the style of play or whatever that fits for your son. Why can the kid not move to another club? You only have a roster. So, for example, you have under 15 team. You have 20 players, and say that you live in Los Angeles. I don't know how many million of kids live in Los Angeles. So, for example, LA Galaxy, they got fantastic players, but there are maybe 6 million kids on the streets that cannot go to LA because they only have 20 spots. So that kid need to go and play in a very not bad academy, but an academy in a lower division that that he's too good to play in. So it's not possible for that kid to, for example, go and play for Red Bull. I mean, that's crazy. That's crazy. And everybody's always afraid to lose players. And if you lose player, then you have to take a big mirror and look in the mirror and say, listen, what are we doing wrong? Because we're losing players to other academies. You never need to be afraid to lose kids. If you lose kids, then you have to think maybe there is something that we are doing wrong in the academy. we are working in a bad way because we are losing kids. So that's not bad for a club to look in the mirror and not just say, the parents, the father is this, the kid is this, he think he's big time. No, you just need to, I mean, we are all fighting. I'm here in Genk, I'm fighting with Anderlecht, with Bruges. We are fighting everybody to bring the best players in, the best potential players. And even us, we in Genk, if you play under 15 game, under 14 game, we have Man City here, we have Ajax, we have Barcelona. Everybody's watching our kids here to try to steal them. If the kids want to go, okay, then they need to go. But we as a club, we need to be that strong to have a pathway to show them, okay, listen, we have a pathway that we work with young kids in the first team that are coming from the academy. And that's our strength. And that's a thing that United States, for me, they need a rule also to play on academy kids, you know? So okay, we're working very hard. The academy coaches and everybody is working very hard to make professional soccer players in the United States. But then they come and they are 16 years old. They have to choose for a USL contract, for example. They give them first a USL contract and then a professional contract MLS. But the moment that they sign the USL contract, I mean, the rules are that the kid cannot go anymore to a good, decent college. And in the United States, you know, college is very important.
Expensive, yeah, it's expensive too.
You know, and it's for me, it's a very good plan B for the top talents. It's a very good plan B. But don't forget that, Gary, we have to be honest. We have some colleges in the United States that ask $60,000 a year, and even more a year. So basically, a lot of kids are paying their own contract, and of course they go and they have they have very good learning experience and everything, and that's perfect, you know. But I think the rules in the United States need to change. Pay to play model, like they say. Oh my God, this for me is shocking. It is shocking. So you have a kid, 5 years old, 6 years old, 7 years old. You want to let them play soccer, a thing that they love, but you need to play 7,000, 8,000 a year. I mean, that's for me, it's crazy. And then we are not even talking about going and playing tournaments, because they all have to pay their own tournaments and to do this and to do this. So those rules, I think that's for me the most important thing that they need, in my opinion, that they need to think about in the United States. Because talent, there are enough talents. And another thing, Gary, you know, here in Belgium, for example, if you're not 18 years old, you're a man. You're a man. That's simple. In the United States, yeah. At 22, 23, they say, he's a kid. No, he's not a kid. He's not a kid anymore. So they always want players 27 years old, 28 years old, 29 years old. They pay a lot of money for them, ridiculous a lot of money. And they got kids in academies that at the age of 17, they got much more potential than players that are playing in the first team. But they don't get the chance to play in the first team because they say, he's too young. So a lot of coaches, they have excuses to not play those young kids. So for me, they need a rule of one, you need to have a certain amount of American players in the team. And you need to have, for example, 6 under 23 players. And hopefully they need to be academy kids, if that's possible. I know it's very difficult, but to improve everything, you need to have young kids and give the chance to young kids to play in first teams.
Let's go back to that potential. You say you go and watch the training, and you know by the training, say this kid's in trouble. They're not going to achieve their potential. What does that training session look like when you're shaking your head, saying this isn't it?
So for me, you know, you have a lot of training sessions. I always talk about, because people ask me, isolated training session, this kind of training session, this technical training session. Why dribbling cones? Why doing this? Why doing this? Why doing this? Why doing this? Sometimes you come you see a training session, and for example, they invite me and they say, come and watch the way we work. So maybe you can help us. Okay, so some clubs, they got unbelievable, fantastic facilities. You can eat from the ground, like we say here in Belgium. It's fantastic. But then you go to other facilities that they want to have a good training session. They ask kids to pay a yearly $6,000, and they play on grass like this, that the ball is not rolling, you know? So that's the thing. And then you see a training session over there. No chance you can have a good training session. And for me, to be honest, that start with cutting the grass, maybe for $30. $30 you can cut the grass. And then you can start thinking about a decent training session. And then for me, a very important thing that I think people don't think about, it's the details. You know, if you are working with youth, you need to let them make mistakes, a lot of mistakes, constantly mistakes. Let them play left and right foot. Let them play balls left foot. Let them play balls right foot. I mean, and repetitions. How can you make a kid a good player if you don't want to give him the total package?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to give passings, a lot of passing drills, but not just a passing drill just to pass.
Mm-hmm.
Give them a passing drill with some thoughts. Why do I need this pass? Because in the game, I'm going to use this pass. Otherwise, if you're not training your weaker foot, like we say, if you're not training him, of course, in the game, he will turn back to his other foot and maybe lose 1 second and lose the ball, And then the coaches will say, oh, he lost that ball in midfield. We gave away a goal. We this. Yeah, maybe it's your fault because in the training session, you don't put enough time to develop the kid's his weaker foot, Put them under pressure with players in the back, but not all the time. Give them solutions, give them options, give them passing drill with turns, with technical movements for the hips, for the knees, for the ankles, a little bit of everything. Shooting left foot, right foot, volleys. Give them the whole package. You want the kids to play good football on Saturday on the game.
Mm-hmm.
But in the week, you're only thinking about your opponent. No. You need to think about how can I improve my kids every single minute of a training session. Do you need to stop a training session for a minute to explain why is this solution or this better? You need to do it. That's your job as a coach, to make the kid better. Not to search for an excuse on Saturday why you don't let the kid play. Because he didn't train well, he lost too much balls. No. That's not important. You're a coach. You need to try to improve the kid. You need to try to improve we always say facet. I don't know if it's a facet of the game.
Yeah.
In every facet of the game. But how can you play a good game if you kill a kid in a training session when he played 3-4 wrong balls at the age of 10, 11 years old? You need to be strict, and you need to put, and I have to watch out what I say, some pressure, but good pressure in an exercise for the kids to do it, to try to do it in a correct way, because a kid can play football. They can do it, but don't kill them when they do it wrong. Of course, you will always have kids that are a little lazy, but even then, as a coach, you need to find a balance between being hard, very hard, and being a friend, a mentor, So it's also for a coach a package that you need to have. So sometimes when I go and see a training session, I see coach, they say, this kid, he did, now he's doing it wrong. And normally he always did it right. And now he's doing it wrong. Listen, don't hide. Let them make mistakes. Let them make mistakes, but think about the detail in a training session for the kid to improve in a game and one day, hopefully, to become a professional soccer player or just a good soccer player.
So it's not necessarily opposed, unopposed. It's like you're not drawn into whatever way. It's just the detail that's in those environments. Like you can have a variety, but the detail and putting the player at the forefront has to be there. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, of course. Of course. It's always football is always about the detail. Always about the detail. You can juggle a million times, but if your first touch is bad, it's very difficult for you to make it one day in soccer. That's very simple. The most important thing is having a good first touch. You need to know how to pass the ball with your left and your right foot. Do it need to be perfect? No, it don't need to be perfect. Of course not. Nobody is perfect. But you need to try to teach the kids how to play with the left and the right foot. You need to give them exercises for them to dribble a player 1v1. So you need 1v1. How can you improve players to do 1v1? To do it and to let them make mistakes. So they need to find the balance between where to do it. But of course, if you don't do it with a kid, I mean, how can you expect from a kid on Saturday to take his player in a 1v1? So it's a total package. They talk about isolated training session. So what is an isolated training session? They talk about individual training session. What is individual training session? For me, every training session is an individual training session because you're training a kid in a team. It's not just the one-on-one individual training session, because for me personally, I do my technical training sessions in the youth. I do it with the whole team, 20 players, and everybody rotate and everybody do the same exercise. So you're doing isolated training session, but in a team session. So, and there you have to put the details and let them make mistakes. But if they play 4 or 5 bad balls, don't tell them, okay, the next ball just play with your right foot. No, let them keep going. Even if you play sorry for my language, if you play a shit ball, let him keep going. Because if you continue doing this, at the end of the day, you will miss the boat. And he will not keep developing like the rest of the team, and he will put themselves out of the team.
You mentioned there about the variety of skills required to play at the top level. Interested to get your views on that. I suppose the strongest skill that player have, a skill that might set them apart. So in De Bruyne's case, the ability to play that ball, that final ball at the pace and quality that he is, how do you build that there alongside other skill? How do you do strength-based coaching when you're still looking at improving everything else?
So first of all, Kevin had the gift that he was unbelievable left and right footed. Everybody knows, I don't know if you guys know, he was a talent, but it was not that Kevin in the game dribbled 6 guys and scored a goal. But Kevin had that passing, the perfect ball at the perfect speed in a game. And a lot of kids at that age, they didn't understand what he wanted to do with that ball, So, but he had that. So the only thing you need to do is keep going and tell him, put the pressure even on him to say, listen, we're going to put 2 small goals and a big goal, and they need to go in there. And even without a goalkeeper, it's not that easy to put some balls, left or right foot, in a small goal. That's the thing that we here, and I'm always talking about my experience, that we do a lot. It's finishings with goalkeeper, without goalkeeper, chippies, a little bit of everything. But to keep, Kevin had the gift that he still got a fantastic pass. It's an unbelievable pass. But that's a gift that he got. Not everybody can give a ball like that. Not everybody can. The thing that you need to do as a coach, again, it's not the decision making, but it's options that you give him, is maybe to help him to say, listen, when you got the ball in this position, maybe you can bend it around the player because you got that ball. You got that skill to do it, And then in the game, again, it's up to him to decide, am I going to do it or not? We can give them options again, But but at the end of the day, is the player that going to do it in the game or not? A thing that we do here, Gary, and I want to keep repeating it. It's to try to make a player total, to give him a total package, And do we need to work individual with him? No, because we don't want to put a kid of 15 higher than the other kid in the team. Nobody is better than the other one. Of course, we as coaches, we know they got more ability, they got more qualities than another kid. But it's not good to put a kid at the age of 14, 15. Okay, we're going to work with you individual, but not with the other guys. Because a kid at 14, a talent at 14 is not a talent at 18. I saw kids at the age of 12, 13. Oh my God, fantastic. They were unbelievable. They looked like adults in a baby body, But they never made it because you need more. You need more than just being good at the age of 12. You need to keep moving up and being good at the age of 12, 13, 14, 15. And then you come to a stage that you're 16, you're becoming a man. And there you need to start being, effective in a game. Mm-hmm. To be effective, to show, okay, listen, I got that skill, but I'm going to use that skill in a perfect way to make steps and to continue progressing.
Brilliant. Brilliant. I'll take a few questions coming in now. One from Tim. Do you still play 3v3 tournaments in Belgium? If you do, why is this more beneficial apart from touches on the ball?
So we in Genk from the under 7, we play 3v3. Yes, under 7, but only for 6 months. And then we go to 5v5. And a 5v5, so a lot of people say, because I heard also a lot of stuff, Belgium, they changed, they play 2v2. We in Genk, we never play 2v2. Kevin De Bruyne, I'm just telling you now, Kevin De Bruyne, Origi, Carrasco, Thibaut, they never play 2v2. Maybe at home with his brother or his sister or whatever, but in the club, they never play 2v2. So we are always with the touch. It's always better to dribble 5 players than to dribble only 1 player at a young age. So a tournament of 3v3, it's with the little ones, we can do that. But don't forget, the more kids that you have, the better. Because if you have all teams of 2 kids, you need a lot of coaches. Mm. And if you need a lot of coaches, you're going to lose quality of coaches because you're going to take coaches just to take coaches. Does it make sense?
Well, you'll have more coaches coming into your environment if you want to organize it that way. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, because if you want to play 2v2, you need a pitch here for 2v2, so you need a coach.
Yes, yeah.
You have 2v2 here, so we need a coach. Mm-hmm. You have 2v2 there, you need a coach. So you have 3 coaches basically for 6 kids. So why don't you just take 2 or 3 coaches and you have 15 to 20 kids in the academy and you put like they say, it's not gamble, but you believe in all of them, and let them dribble at that age. And 3v3s, 2v2s, listen, it's good, but at the end of the day, we're gonna play 11v11, and a lot of touches. If they are playing 5v5 and they dribble 2 players and they pass the ball, oh my God, they have an immense of touches.
Gary has asked, do all kids at Genk play a minimum amount of game time? What age do you think coaches should start looking to set kids' primary positions?
So we in Genk, we rotate all the kids and positions until the age of, let me think, 16, and then we only have 3 positions, but still 3. At the younger ages, they can play everywhere on the pitch, everywhere, because we want to give them a play A, B, C, D, whatever. At the age of 15 up, we're going to start to see, okay, where did he fit it best? But again, on 3 positions. But we will never put a left winger as an outside back on the right side. We never work diagonal. We can put, like we say, a left winger, we can put them on the outside back on the left side. Maybe for the future, you never know. That's the thing what we do. And of course, the front 5, they rotate, the midfielder rotate. But at the age of 16, 15, we will never put a defender as a 9 or as a winger or whatever. That's done. At that age, we know a little bit where the kid's gonna fit. And then playing time, yes, everybody will have the amount of 50% normally of playing time. But of course, we don't need to be arrogant and say it's all perfect like that. No, it's not. It's not. First of all, the kids need to deserve it. They need to work very hard, because you have puberty. So kids are lacking. They come in. They don't feel, they're going to act a little bit like a star or whatever. So he sit on the bench and he need to show every single week that he's working hard to deserve, not to start, but to deserve some minutes in a game. So everybody will play basically like 50%. At the older ages, of course, at the age of 17, 18, we're talking about pre-pros, professionals coming almost in. So that's something different. But even there, it's not just one coach, the coach of the team that's going to say, listen, I'm going to take him off and he will not play that game. It's always, with the technical staff, with the director of the club. So everybody talks and say, okay, listen, today this kid's gonna play, but everybody will rotate and they will have an amount of time to show themselves. Because the moment you play in Genk, we believe in everybody. It's not that we say, okay, he's 15, he's not top at this moment, he will never make it. No, because maybe in 2 years he will explode, so he needs chances to play.
Alan has asked, what are the most important technical details you look for in your exercises?
Technical or tactical?
Technical.
Tactical.
No, technical.
Yeah, okay. So for me, the most important thing is passing a ball on a good speed. First touches, doing a lot of turns with pressure and without pressure. So first, without pressure for them to feel comfortable, and then you can add some pressure in. Runs like they need in a game. Mm-hmm. Volleys, shooting. Again, the whole package.
Brilliant. Building relationships with your players. What are some ways you do that?
For me personally, I'm a little lucky. So I'm a technical coach. I can do some fun things with them. So it's always a little different than the team coach. But the thing is, for me, I think a big key is to respect your player. Respect your player. And you need to be open for discussions. Even if a kid is 11 years old, they have questions. You never know what's going in their mind. And don't put yourself again as a coach and say, oh, listen, I'm the coach. I know better than him. And I'm not going in a positive discussion with a kid of 11 years old. Just listen to him. Listen to him because it's going to make sense. The question that he's going to ask, maybe it's going to make a lot of sense. So you can help even the kid in that part to develop. And don't show I'm looking for the right words, because it's delicate. Don't show the kid that you want to win a game, but in a good way. In a good way, in a way that the kid know, okay, today I learned something with this win. I've learned something with this win. I didn't just defend and play on a counter attack or whatever. I learned something from this win. Explain a kid as a coach, what do they have learned in a game that they have lost. Because a lot of coaches, they lose a game, they throw the door, they say go home to the kids. They don't explain the kids what was the good thing in the game. It's always the bad things that come back. Of course, you need to talk about bad things, but don't forget the good things in a bad game. Because at the end of the day, the good things in a bad game gonna make a big difference in the future.
Craig has asked, how many hours per week do the different age groups train? What is too short an amount of contact time, and what is too much? What's overtraining?
It's never overtraining as a young kid. Never overtraining. Let them train, let them play. But of course, if you see that you are training 1.5 hours on a high level, on a good high level, you will see that it's gonna the cleanliness of the training session, the level of the training session gonna slow down. So I think if you train 1 hour and 30 minutes, 1 hour and 45 minutes max on a good level, on a good speed, with some good, intensity, that's perfect. So the ages here in Genk, the younger ones, under 7, under 8, under 9, they train 3 times a week. 1 hour and 30 minutes, 1 hour 45 minutes. It's always included a technical training session for all ages. But this is in addition to the training session. So all ages will have 45 minutes of training session, of technical training session. And then, of course, all coaches are implementing?
Implement, yeah.
Implementing some technical moves in the sessions of the team. So that's the thing that everybody does. The under 10, under 11, under 12, they train 4 times a week. 4 times a week. Then you have the under 13, under 14, they train 5 times a week. And then you have the under 15 up, they train 6 times a week. Yeah, so it's basically 2 mornings, because we work together with the school. So the kids, they come here and they train at 8:30. At 8:30 in the morning, they have a training session of 1 hour and 30 minutes in small groups, not only position, just in small groups. They work together in the stations, and then they go to school, and then in the afternoon they come back and they train again. And then for the high potential players that have a contract of the age of, I think, 16 up, 17 up, I think it's about 16 players. They will have an addition training session with me and one other staff coach of the first team. But then we work on position-specific stuff.
Brilliant. Adam has asked you a question about go back to Belgium. We spoke just before we started recording on how it was a positive move. Do you want to share that there, that the reasons or the relationship with Kansas City?
The relationship with Kansas City was very good. It was a fantastic club. So we to be honest, I had an amazing staff with John Perry and the academy coaches. We changed a lot in 2 years. I mean, a lot. So basically, I did everything what I did here in Genk. I put it in over there, and you saw that we were, to be honest, we were flying. So the reason that I came back, like I told you, Gary, is because the dad of my wife was sick. So we had to move back. That's simple. If I will stay there longer for a certain amount of years, I don't know, because for me it was not going fast enough. And I mean, with young guys getting minutes in the first team, we had Gianluca Busio, fantastic, Jalen Lindsay, very young kids, very talented. But for me, it could get better, it could get faster. So that's the thing that I think that here, and of course in Genk, it's fantastic. We have, I think, in the first team squad of 28 players, we have 12 academy kids. So that's fantastic. I think Genk. We are selling a lot of players because that's one thing that we do. Is trying to build players and to sell them to survive. But we do that a lot of time with own kids. And of course, if we don't have our own kids that are ready for the first team, we're always looking for top talents worldwide, 17 years old, 18 years old, kids that we don't have here in the academy, that maybe one day can, that, to be honest, that can make money for the club, to put money in the academy again and to keep building and building and building. So for kids to have a chance to play in our first team.
When you're an under 16 coach at a professional club, what is success for that coach? Is it getting that one or two players to the first team level, or is it the winning games, or no?
Listen, Gary, for me, I'm here in this club now in total almost 15 years. Yes, of course, with 2 years in Kansas City. They always ask me, so what is the reason that you're on Genk? That for me, there's only one thing that you win as a coach and as a youth coach, is seeing kids playing in the first team. That's the biggest win you will ever see and ever get. And then, of course, if we talk about the top guys now playing in the Champions League and World Cups, listen, this is fantastic for us. But the main goal for a youth coach need to be, one day I will have kids in the first team that I was lucky enough to work with. That's the wins, and I don't even know what I won with Genk in the academy, and I don't care. The only thing I know is that worldwide they know us for the way we work, and they know we had, for very small to being a club from I think we are a club of 28 years old, to play already 2-3 times in the Champions League, to have 7-8 players in the national team of Belgium coming out of Genk, to have playing a World Cup with 9-10 players that played in Genk. I mean, what else do you want as an academy coach? To look at and to say, listen, I was lucky to train with those guys. That's the biggest win you will ever get. I still got good goosebumps if I think about it.
Brilliant. Last couple for you. Chuck has asked about the principles that you emphasize for a youth player. How does that compare to a 16-year-old? Is there more tactical layers that come into the game then?
Gary, to be honest, tactical start when they play 5v5. I mean, it start, but it's not start to go on a board and kill the kids with tactical things. No, it's a training session. They know what we expect from them, and it go up 13, 14 because here everybody play the same way. So a kid of under 13, if you have to play with the under 15, you know exactly what to do. You know, and it's tactics. Yes, it's tactics, but it's our philosophy. It's the way we think, the way we want to play attacking football. We want to play with a lot of possession. Of course, this is all, like we say, cliche. You know, cliche. Everybody wants to do it. I had 60% of possession. I have this. But what do you do with the possession? You know, what do you do with the possession? And that's what we want to see in all our games. We help them tactical, but of course, we don't want to put so much tactic in, so much that they're going to lose the pureness of football.
Brilliant. My last one for you. Something you spoke about at the start was the humility in the player. Can you teach this at a young age, or how do you facilitate humility in an environment with the young players?
So for us here, so basically, I heard, I think last season or 2 seasons ago, Guardiola and Man City, they told the academy kids to put black shoes on, for example. That's a thing that we are doing here for 15 years already. Until now. Only the players 18 years up that got already a contract with the club, they can play only with the second team. They play with colored shoes. And with the 19, they play with colored shoes. All the rest, they all play with black shoes. They don't come in with too much crazy stuff with earrings and white hair, painted, and not too much talking. Just be humble, work hard, because we want them to show themselves in the game with the game they play. With the feet, not with the beautiful shoes that they got, with the beautiful eyes, the beautiful haircut, you know. And of course, everything changed. Everything changed, and you need to let it go just a little bit. But still, there need to be a certain amount of discipline, and they need to know what they are working for. They need to know one day, I want to be in the first team and be humble and work my butt off, and, you know, and don't put the socks over the knee, you know, and all this stuff. I always tell the kids, socks under the knee, just be humble, train, don't be special, just be special in the way you play. And then one day when you go to the first team, you can take your socks and you can put them over your ears. There's no problem, you know. But when they are academy kids, they need to be humble. They need to know the first thing is work very hard, enjoy football because it's the most beautiful thing in life. The most beautiful thing in life. But don't forget I always say about the pure football.
Brilliant. I'm sneaking one more in here. Andy's just asked about
no problem.
The core, in terms of the practices at the club, does the coach have autonomy to create their own, or is it, do they have a set of practices that are given to them?
The coaches are free. They are free to do whatever they want, but it need to be in the philosophy of the club. Don't come and do a training session that you're doing, that you're working on tactics and that you are working on a counter attack, or that you are sitting back and we want to do this because we're going to play this team now and they have a fast winger and they have this. And that don't work here. Here, everybody knows we try to make the players as good as possible in passing and running and everything. We want to make them the best, and the coaches know that, so they're not doing crazy stuff. Because we have the director here, I am there, so everybody's always looking at what the coaches are doing. We will never be arrogant and go on the pitch and say, hey, that's not the way to do it. We will wait until after the session and then we will talk about it. But until now, in all those years, that didn't happen. Yeah. So everybody know what to do.
Brilliant. Leo Maric has
Leo Maric, Maestro Dobro. Good friend. I play with him. I played with him when I was a young kid.
Brilliant. Michel, thank you so much. This has been amazing. The time has flown. It's been a great insight, and it's just not just on the development, but also on the coach development and how a coach should facilitate the environment. It's been fantastic.
Yeah. Gary, listen, this is my opinion. They can do whatever they want with it. If they like it, perfect. If they don't like it, they need to throw it in the garbage can. You know, I'm the way I am. I'm just a street kid that is still doing his hobby, you know, and that's the only thing I know, and I love it to do it. So for me, it's I hope they enjoyed it a little bit, and for me, perfect.
Brilliant, brilliant. Hey, thank you so much for your time. Stay safe, and we'll see you on the pitch very soon.
Okay, perfect. Same to you guys. Bye bye.
Thanks everyone.
Bye bye. Bye bye.